Traditional soil gardening is thirsty. Recirculating water instead of letting it drain away cuts water usage by 70 to 90%. To achieve those savings, you have two primary options for soil-free growing: hydroponics and aquaponics. Because both methods deliver oxygen and nutrients directly to the root zone, plants avoid expending energy searching through dense earth. They grow up to 50% faster and yield roughly 25% more per square foot than a traditional garden. The physical setups look similar from the outside. The critical divide between the two systems is exactly where those nutrients come from. In hydroponics, you are the sole provider. You manually measure and mix concentrated inorganic mineral salts directly into the water reservoir. In aquaponics, live fish do the heavy lifting. Their waste is converted by bacteria into organic nutrients that your plants need to thrive. The decision you have to make is not about which system produces a healthier head of lettuce. Your choice comes down to whether you want to manage precise chemical inputs or maintain a living, breathing biological ecosystem. It is easy to get swept up in the romantic marketing of aquaponics. Pitchmen often frame it as a perfectly balanced, self-sustaining loop where the fish feed the plants and the plants clean the water, requiring zero effort. The reality is much stricter. You are simultaneously managing the health, temperature, and specific needs of three entirely different living organisms: the plants, the fish, and the invisible nitrifying bacteria. Hydroponics offers absolute predictable control. If a crop needs more nitrogen, you add exactly the right amount of nitrogen, and the plants respond almost immediately. That level of control comes with a catch. You are entirely dependent on purchasing commercial fertilizers. Over time, those mineral salts build up in the water, requiring you to occasionally dump the entire reservoir and start fresh. Viewers seduced by the wrong promise usually end up with dead fish or stunted crops. Success requires matching the strict operational realities of these setups to your actual lifestyle, budget, and physical space. Hydroponics operates like a chemistry lab. You mix exact ratios of nitrogen, phosphorus, and trace minerals into a reservoir, optimizing the water perfectly for whatever specific crop you are growing that day. As plants drink the water and leave certain minerals behind, the chemical balance skews. To prevent toxic salt accumulation, you eventually have to drain the system and mix a completely new batch of nutrients. Aquaponics relies on biology instead of bottled chemistry. You feed tilapia or goldfish, they produce ammonia in the water, and a biofilter full of bacteria converts that ammonia into nitrates, which the plants absorb as organic fertilizer. Forcing fish, bacteria, and plants to share the same water creates a serious biological hurdle, specifically when it comes to the pH level of the water. This diagram illustrates the conflict. Most vegetables prefer slightly acidic water, between 5.5 and 6.5, but your fish and bacteria need a neutral environment, around 7.0 or higher. You have to force all three into a tight compromise zone, between 6.8 and 7.0. In that narrow window, hardy crops like lettuce do fine, but heavy fruiting plants like tomatoes struggle to absorb nutrients, severely limiting their output. A hydroponic reservoir is dialed in exclusively for maximum plant growth. An aquaponic system is a negotiated truce, where neither the plants nor the fish operate at their absolute peak efficiency. You can build a basic hydroponic setup with minimal hardware. A simple plastic tote, a cheap aquarium air pump, and some net pots are enough to grow greens for a family. You can assemble those parts, mix your water, drop in your seedlings, and have a fully functioning farm in a single afternoon. Aquaponics demands a massive leap in physical infrastructure. You need large tanks, radial filters, biological filters, and some tanks. All of this complex plumbing exists to meticulously separate solid fish waste from the water stream before it ruins the harvest. Even after you finish building it, you cannot plant immediately. You must wait several weeks for the bacteria colonies to naturally cycle and establish themselves before you can safely add your full stock of fish or heavy plantings. To build a mid-scale, dual-loop aquaponics setup that actually protects the fish and plants simultaneously, you're looking at roughly $2,000 in startup capital. Aquaponics asks for a significant upfront investment in money, physical footprint, and patience before a single leaf is ready to eat. The true test of any artificial growing environment happens when the power goes out. In a hydroponic setup, a few hours without electricity is rarely a disaster. As long as the root zone remains moist in the stagnant nutrient solution, the plants will wait it out. In aquaponics, a power failure halts water circulation and cuts off oxygen. The fish quickly suffocate, and the bacteria colonies begin to die off. Because the stakes are so high, serious aquaponic growers are forced to install expensive, automated battery backups to ensure their ecosystem doesn't collapse during a routine blackout. When looking at raw production data, that extra risk doesn't translate to bigger vegetables. Hydroponic systems consistently produce more plant mass per square foot than their aquaponic counterparts. The financial math of aquaponics turns positive when you have the scale and the local market to actively sell the mature fish alongside your produce. The lower vegetable yields and constant threat of catastrophic failure mean aquaponics makes the most sense if cultivating the fish is an explicit goal of your operation. This flowchart starts with one defining question. Do you want to raise and harvest fish? If you have no interest in feeding tilapia, hydroponics is your choice. If yes, can you dedicate 50 square feet and wait a month to cycle before harvesting? Let's apply this to the pragmatic beginner or the apartment grower with a spare closet. A desire for fast, reliable salads with the lowest possible barrier to entry and the smallest physical footprint makes hydroponics the required choice. Then consider the homesteading hobbyist having backyard or greenhouse space and treating the complexity of balancing a dual harvest ecosystem as a rewarding challenge makes aquaponics the perfect fit. For the commercial optimizer, business scale dictates the hardware. You must choose between maximizing raw plant volume with hydroponics or managing the higher operating costs of aquaponics to sell premium fish to local restaurants. Hydroponics is sterile, predictable efficiency. You input precise chemistry and you extract maximum vegetable growth. Aquaponics is about cultivating life. You are managing a biological engine where fish, bacteria, and plants depend on each other for survival. Whether you prefer the exact control of a chemistry lab or the complex rhythms of a fish tank, both paths deliver heavy yields. They successfully leave the drought, pests, and limitations of traditional soil behind.